Dr. Ligeti's Dreams by Ian Delacroix. The Flying. The district where Danilo is usual to set his nocturnal wanderings hosts few small buildings, 2 stories houses with pitched roofs of slate and narrow windows. In those depths you can find twisted, unexplored corners, the stillness and the faint colors of the suburbs. Few are the figures one can discern in those calm abbeys when the sun sets with a dying bow and the shadows crawl from the corners of the streets. The dream. The cobbled paving widens the silence of the night and the stark sound of Danilo's steps. He loves to hear the noise of his own shoes over the pavement, a harsh sound that reverberates in the air like an echo, and resounds through the walls of his skull like it had a consistency, as if it had flesh and bones. Windows hold darkness, a thick, absolute darkness. Distant glimmers are just ghost lights behind the curtains on the upper floors of the buildings, maybe the heat of the fireplace, the ghost of solitude drowned by the illusion of numbers. The smells are different here, where mysteries knock at your door, wild yet subtle, as organic and inorganic matter intertwined. Danilo stumbles through desolate streets, his silhouette a shadow on the walls, where the street lamps ogle. A slot, a door that does not exist. A wide shed towering over the silhouettes of the small houses, over the shy slate roofs without ambitions, roofs that have only fragile dreams, much too private to be told to anyone. The wings. Danilo has always wished he can fly. When he was a child, he dreamed he could soar over the roofs, over the realms of reason, over the cement flow and the stone. He can't imagine that someone in the wide shed had the same dream. The difference? The one who has dreamed wings all his life in the wide shed has also dared to go over the boundaries of the matter. Danilo just surrendered to the mediocrity of reality, his ambitions dead. Darkness appears less thick when you are darkness. It's the universe seen beyond another perspective. Danilo milled about, entering the building. The nightmare. Everywhere there is a weird smell, scent of mown grass, straw, and something else, the acrid scent of animals. On the floor, sheets metal and dust. Now that Danilo itself is one with darkness and his eyes are one with the night, he goes straight into the womb of the building. He has never ventured so far since now. This side of the city has always remained a forbidden alchemy for him and his dreams. But always comes a moment in the life of someone when one has to decide to fly or not to fly. Now that moment is arrived for him and he has to catch it. Now, before it can end and vanish like grain of dust from his fingers. A gust of air rises up the cobwebs on the walls. A faint pelt is audible, like a rhythmic, soft lullaby, as a river is running beyond the building. In a far corner, where shadows linger in thick layers, spiral stairs made of stone disappear in an enigmatic underground. If he has to sink before he can fly, let the descent be his way. One step after the other, Danilo descends the spiral of stairs. The smell gets even stronger. His senses are bothered by noises that echo everywhere, irregular beating of wings and metallic gurgling. One stroke. Darkness. When he awakens, his perceptions are a deck of cards thrown in the wind. His curiosity will be soon sedated. Danilo has found what he was looking for, in an unexpected way, though. Iron bars surround him, a cage where the bodies of other men lies, a cage of illusion and desperation. Some of the men are like him, others are simply different. A blink of an eye. A thin soot covers the floor he is lying over. A window, a single opening without glass, lets a faint light to come in. What is this? Astonishment. And where are we? The nearest occupant puts a finger over his lips and silences him. Danilo brought his legs to his chest. His eyes wander through the cell and focus on the other prisoners. Everyone seems to be waiting for something. There is a sense of expectation in the air. The cage is wide, a circular structure of iron. It fills most of the room. A noise, something opening, a door. A little man with a curious silhouette and few grayish hairs on his head appears on the background, his features surrounded by light. You have awakened. He welcomes him and steps closer. Only the iron separates their dreams, like a membrane wall. Danilo stares into those dark eyes. He does not understand his words. The smile of the little man is a mirror of illusions. The doctor seems to lose interest in him. With sleazy movements, he approaches another derelict. You. His finger is a sentence. 3 letters that can daze and change the flow of an existence. The chosen one is trembling now. From the darkness, new figures approaches. The cage is opened and the prisoner is taken away. The door is closed again, and they are still alone in their prison of iron and air. Who was that man? Danilo's eyes wander through the cage, questioning the folk imprisoned with him. Time seems to shrink and expand. After eternal moments of silence, a whisper. The doctor. Someone in the dirty corner has spoken. Danilo crawls on all fours and reaches the corner of the cage. The man who has spoken is one of the others, the different ones.
His name is Ligeti, murmurs the man, and we are his guinea pigs.
The eyes of Danilo wanderers around. The truth of his conditions digs into his skull little by little, and it is dark and dreadful. It creeps like an insect in the corners of his mind. Guinea pigs? What kind of... He doesn't think he really wants to know the answer, but his question echoes in the air.
He wants to fulfill his dream. The flight.
The man in the dim light uncovers his back, showing what Danilo has only guessed in that cage, so wide and yet so narrow. Mechanical prosthesis spread from the shoulder of the man huddled in the corner. Majestic configurations that engrave the flesh and lead the thoughts over the thinkable, beyond the walls of reason, an arch of hopes and sorrows. The stranger's face becomes a grimace.
Wings?
Danielle's voice is a whisper. The man shuts himself in a forced silence. It almost seems he wants to enclose himself in an imaginary cocoon that can't include his wings. Danilo keeps staring at that dream of metal and void, unable to look anywhere else. Can I touch them? His eyes devoured by the dream. The man starts to shake, like an epileptic, like an animal, like a bird of whom he is a simulacrum, and bent over in the corner. The other occupant of the cage fidget, anxiety in their movements. In that atmosphere of incertitude, where the light is never enough to show the way, Danilo loses his sense of time. The smell of mankind and the smell of beast mix together. It is easy now to fall in a feverish slumber. Sometimes pain knocks at our door. We can make as many efforts we want to let the door be closed. In the end, we can't but open it. Danilo feels the pain knocking at his door. His eyelids split open. A table. He is lying over a table, an operating theater founded in a cellar. The smell of disinfectant fills his nostrils. He tries a movement, his muscles are still and ache. He can only turn his head a little, and it's in that moment that his eyes meet the enigmatic gaze of the doctor. "You have awakened." His face is full of wrinkles and hope. His voice is a pit of possibilities. "Soon your eyes will watch the world from above like only the gods are allowed to." He seems to hesitate for a moment, lost in visions greater than himself. His gaze turns back to look at his future creation. Flesh to be modeled as if it was made of clay. "Before this," he continues, recovering the flow of his thoughts, "the sleep of the right ones." The last thing Danilo can see before falling into an unknown realm is the silhouette of a huge needle that pierces his skin. There is an unconsciousness that has the color of pain. It is in this kind of slumber that Danilo floats in. It's cold, thick, and has no exit. Even if he is deeply buried in his sleep while the doctor feeds his dreams as flowers, Danilo can feel everything around him, beyond the membrane wall of the sleep that separates him from the diamond of reality he has always known. A fire is burning inside his shoulder blades. If he had known as a child that that was the price to pay for what he was wishing for, there would have been no more desires nor dreams. There is no mind that can bear all those vertigo. The scalpel works. In that suspended dimension that is no color, no matter, nor conscience, Danilo screams, but he has no mouth. The first light sneaks under his eyelids, resembling a clandestine in a theater that appears over the stage to spoil the first act. Smell of sweat and unwashed skin. His eyes open up over the world, and immediately he catches the limit of his situation. He is still caged. Now he is one of the others. His eyes reach his back, where the metal implanted on his skin can't be hidden. He looks at his wings, his eyelids wide open. He tries to move them, the prosthesis answer to his will, arching back. Every movement comes natural, like he always had wings, and those appendices had always been part of his body. But with every movement comes the pain. "You will never get used to it." A chalked voice on his right, a thin man with an incredibly hairless body. Someone, not far from him, cries, sobbing. Then, there is only the dark of the waiting. An everlasting waiting. When Danilo opens his eyes, something has changed. In the air, in the mood, in his perceptions. His new body shivers. His eyes can see the stars, and for a moment he thinks he is dreaming. Then the weight of understanding fills him. The cage has been moved. The nightmare. Now he is imprisoned on the roof of the unknown building. Danilo shuts his eyes and tastes the flavor of the air. For too long he has been imprisoned in a cellar. That smell now seems divine. He shakes his wings and new pain fills his skin. He has to get used to it. His eyes turn to his companions in the cage, one after another. They are awakening from the deep slumber too, and there is astonishment in their eyes. The doctor. Like the main character of a play, he comes to the scene for the last act. His movements are controlled and have something of the knight and something of the automaton or marionette. The wings. Someone fidgets in the cage, following the movements of the doctor. The eyes of the old man study his creations for moments that resemble eternity. His still face opens up in a smile that have the taste of ashes and sleepless nights. One only movement with his hand, and the dome of the aviary opens up. All the eyes stare together at the sky at the same time. Danilo stretches his muscles, too long forced into unnatural positions. The shiver of the first time, he wets his lips with his tongue. The dream. The doctors stare at his creations, waiting for the first one, the braver, to fly for the very first time. His voice, deep like a litany, reverberates in the night. Fly! Fly, children of mine! Or get consumed in the attempt. Danilo's eyes shine while he stares at the sky. The flying